Hey everyone, welcome to the ImmortaliTea podcast. I'm your host, Jake, again here with Josh. Today, we're drinking some rock oolong, Shou, or Buddha's hand. It has that name because of the relatively larger leaf size of the varietal. So let's get into it. We've drinking a couple rock oolongs before. Main points about these is they come from a special area in Fujian, the Wuyishan Nature Preserve, in or around it. This one is from the inner region, which is kind of what you're looking for, which is the thing most connoisseurs are looking for. Not to say that good teas don't also come from outside the region, but this is like the classic stuff. So let's smell the dry leaves. These are pretty aroma heavy, so I don't know. Yeah, cacao, like minerals. What do you got?
Cacao.
Cacao.
Well, and even like a cacao raisiny or something like a dried fruit, but like deep dark.
And this is amazing too, because like the Wuyi Preserve is not that big. I think it's about 70 square kilometers, if I recall right. That's just off the top of my head. It's not huge. It's a relatively small region in terms of tea growing. But there's a lot of variation. Just in like the styles of tea, the different cultivars, the different like little sub locations in the preserve. Let's smell the leaves now that they're wet. Yeah, more intense, more like, so there's some like vegetal flavors, some sugariness,
and then
aromas.
You did a quick rinse on this one.
I did a quick rinse, yeah. Yeah, the logic there being, twisted leaves need a little hit to open it up. There's nothing wrong with drinking the rinse. I know a lot of people who want to drink the rinse of a rock oolong, but custom is to throw out the rinse. Also, this one is like, just say rock oolongs in general should have at least a little age. This one is 2019, so it's going on 2 years old as of right now. And the reason you don't want to drink it like super fresh is because of the roast. The roast is kind of overpowering in the first year. So anywhere that's like reputable should be buying their rock oolongs a year in advance of selling them. Let's taste this. Otherwise, like some places try to get away with like lighter roast without aging. Yeah, Josh is making faces saying it's really good.
It's like almost, I didn't expect it to be that pronounced, and it's like almost a seaweed, but not quite seaweed or kombu. It's like, well, what do you speak to what I'm saying about that seaweed kombu note? Because I don't know what it is.
So it's kind of like earthy sour, right? Like, I would say like, I think my official notes on this one are like cave rocks, like going in a cave and like looking like the limestone wall or something.
Yeah, if I could eat moss, I feel like this is what moss would taste like.
It's dank.
Yeah,
right?
It's dank. It's got that. Which, in a way, that's because the tea plant or the tea tree was pulling out all these minerals from these rocks.
Yeah, exactly. This is something we've talked about before, like, but with the Wuyi Nature Preserve, it's very, very minerally soil. I believe this one was grown in a gorge, like a valley. It's the Dashui Kang, which Kang I believe means gorge. So there's a lot of specific sublocations in Wuyi, and like there's over 200 varietals of tea also. So there's a lot, and there's a lot of different profiles with it, even within like this kind of shared area and shared processing standard.
And currently, Trident Teas has a lot of rock oolongs.
We have quite a few now. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I'm pretty hype about our rock oolong selection. I think we have maybe, I'm gonna say like 8 to a dozen right now, different ones, all quite different from each other. Some are more fruit forward, some are a little more earthy, dank. Some are more on the vegetal, grassy side. There's a lot of there's a lot to explore here.
You know, this oolong classification of tea is a pretty wide spectrum.
Sure.
And so if someone's used to more of a less oxidized oolong, like a high mountain oolong.
You mean like a Taiwan specifically, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like a Taiwan high mountain oolong, then how would you compare this to that and even the processes that this one goes through?
Sure. So you know, something like the Longfeng Shou, which we just drank recently, a Taiwanese oolong, that was about, I would say 10 to 15% oxidized, I think. This one's going to be quite a bit more, probably more on the 60 to 80%, somewhere in there. So it's a lot darker. It's closer to just black tea, which are fully oxidized teas. And then the other distinction is like they're roasted in addition to being oxidized. So this one's roasted 3 different times. So you definitely taste the charcoal. And these are all roasted in the traditional manner with like charcoal in like a special room. A lot of places will do like electric ovens and stuff now, but these are traditionally roasted, the ones we have.
Which I like because I think that natural charcoal roasting adds like these micro bits of like charcoal.
Probably.
And for some reason, I think when I drink a rock oolong, it's almost like cleansing my blood or like pulling things out of me versus like when I drink a high mountain oolong, I feel like it's a lot more hydrating.
Interesting.
You know, so like just something to think about because sometimes I'll drink these and then I'll have to just drink more water. But I like that effect because we all put stuff into our body that's not necessarily the greatest for us. And like, how do we get it out of us? And I think these rock oolongs are definitely one of my tools.
I guess charcoal is supposed to be detoxing, right? Like that's a thing. I'm not an expert on that or anything, but I don't know. I've had plenty of like electric oven, you know, like roasted oolongs, and like they're good. It doesn't like, I don't think it's bad or anything. Like it's different. I mean, but yeah, I like this kind of like rougher taste to this myself. Like there's good like charcoal in this one.
You can taste the layer of smoke around the kind of oolong tea leaf. It's really interesting.
And then what let's think. What else are we tasting? We said dank, like cave rocks. Not a lot of fruit in this one. So some are a lot more like on like the prune or date kind of, or orange zest kind of end. This one's more just like maybe like chrysanthemum buds or something, or
yeah, it's very minerally.
Yeah, but there is a top note still though. That's, I think, a little like perfumey, fragrant.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's like after I took a drink and then I was just kind of smacking my lips together, that aftertaste produced that chrysanthemum kind of sweetness. Very subtle. Nice.
Yeah, these are very complex, subtle teas.
Why do just traditionally, why do people drink the rock oolong? I mean, is it you know, in the way that pu'er sometimes people drink after a heavy meal, is the rock oolong just kind of a daily drinker for people living within Wu Yi? Because
it's one of the oldest or most classic types of like Chinese loose leaf tea, and actually is the region where the Gongfu Cha style of brewing originated. So Gongfu Cha, like, you know, the gaiwan, the lidded cup that's brewed in, the cups, you know, short, multiple quick servings. Those are, that technology like arose in order to like appreciate the nuances of the rock oolong. Yeah, traditionally a very like high class tea in China. Outside, it's more of it was considered more of a high end artisanal.
what do you think that is? We're at the 4th or 5th steep?
I think this is the 4th. These ones don't go particularly long. Your like 3rd or 4th steeping is probably going to be the best, and you can get more out of that. These are not really like the you steep all day kind of ones. These are like you get a few steeps, you really appreciate it, and then it's pretty much done after that.
Yeah. I feel like that definitely holds true when I'm steeping it here. I'll just get one of the rock oolongs, and then I try to push it like a high mountain oolong, but it just never goes as far, and so it quickly reaches just a lighter soup, just like you said, like those 5 or 6 steeps.
But definitely like a lot of body here, right? Like loads and loads of body, like, and you get that like chalky mineral texture in the cup. You don't quite get that with other teas.
How do the rock oolongs do at the cafe?
Rock Oolongs do well. They definitely have their like little following. I feel like these are not always suited to like a very American palate. You know, an American palate is maybe looking for something a little more straightforward. Usually,
Herbal tea, something with fruity, just,
or just
extreme flavor.
or just a strong black. Yeah, yeah. These ones are a lot more about the subtleties that you get. It's about savoring the feeling, appreciating the clarity, like, and there's like a sense of timelessness that you get. Also, you like drop in, and you can like, I don't know. I can almost imagine myself like, you know, sitting and like amidst the rocks, you know, and like where these teas are growing in like in the nature preserve.
I would totally agree with that, because when I drink these, I feel like I am drinking the mountain, not the terroir, not the flavor of the soil, but really kind of this extreme environment where the soils are just extremely rocky and minerally, and these tea plants have to like shoot their leaves into the mountain and like into these rocky soils, and you taste that.
Yeah,
you really taste it.
yeah. I'm also feeling like fairly high off of this right now. I don't know about you. It's the energy is like a little different. That's always like an interesting thing to me, like feeling the exact energetic quality of a tea. Because this one is very, I don't know, heady and uplifting to me. Like,
Yeah, I can see that.
Like dome expanding. I don't know if you're experiencing anything close to that.
Well, I mean, it would make a lot of sense, honestly, because of I think there are a lot more minerals in this tea. And so when I drink this tea, I notice that, you know, the human body needs minerals, you know, and like I notice that my body somehow gets these, you know, minerals that aren't necessarily present in all of our foods. And I think there's a great deal of intention that goes into just making this tea, knowing that it was, you know, had to break down rocks in order to get what it needed to grow. And I feel like it really does translate to the cup. So I think that's probably what it is, like just a boost of all these minerals and then the caffeine and the wonderful charcoal. I love the charcoal flavors.
These are really good for cold weather. They're very warming. You know, as we're filming this, it's like snowing outside right now. It's kind of like right on for me. I love, you know, getting into these when like the weather changes in the fall. It's like exactly what I want. Also, I have found when I'm like a little sick or something, like a rock oolong is like usually my go-to.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
it just pulls stuff out.
I guess I don't know. There's not really any thought behind it. It's just like kind of what I gravitate towards.
Yeah.
So, but there must be something to it.
Yeah, I feel like instinct when you're choosing tea, it's almost like your body's saying, "I need what's in that tea."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how would you suggest the faux show or the Buddha's hand to someone who might not be as familiar with the rock oolongs? What kind of flavors would they kind of expect to find?
Yeah. So like I said, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone who's like expecting a very like straightforward tea. You know, you would never make this into like an iced tea or something like that. It wouldn't really translate. You wouldn't want to like brew this Western style for the most part, or like put milk or sugar in it. I would suggest this to someone who's very interested in like the feeling of tea and like health qualities and like qi and like learning about different areas and varietals, because there's a lot here. You know, it feels very good to me, but it's just not a straightforward tea. You know, you say like it tastes like, well, what does it taste like? It tastes like dank cave rocks and. Like is that a good thing? It's a good thing to me. Like,
well, and it's like it tastes like what happens if you drunk water from a waterfall that was basically going over rocks, just rocks and rocks and huge granite boulders. Like that water would almost take on this quality. It's like,
yeah.
I think this is one of those. And then even for me as a tea drinker, I didn't start with rock oolongs. I think I had my first rock oolong maybe 2 or 3 years in.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't appreciate it because I hadn't kind of started my journey up the mountain with like green tea, high mountain oolongs, oh, you want a pu'er? A little further up the mountain, a little deeper into the tea culture. And same thing with this rock oolong from Wuyi. The Buddha's hand is, you're tasting the mountain. So unless you want to taste the mountain, like, you know.
Buddha's hand, taste the mountain. Feel free to edit that out.
No. We're leaving that in there because we are, you know, the Trident Cafe, bookstore, and tea cellars is located in Boulder, Colorado, one of the Buddhist outposts here in the Rocky Mountains in the United States.
Yeah. This is actually riding just fine into like 6 and 7 steeps, honestly.
Yeah, it's going further.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said at the beginning, it's called Buddha's hand because of like the slightly larger leaf sizes. I'm not sure if you can like really see and appreciate that here. If that's a pretty good one. If you look at pictures, because these wither up during processing, right? But if you look at pictures of the plant, it really is like a hand-sized leaf almost. So that's just an idiosyncrasy of the varietal. Yeah, this one is just like fantastic in my opinion, though. Like, not straightforward, like you said. Like I don't know. I don't know about you. I started on green teas, like Japanese green teas specifically, which you know I still love. They're definitely a little more straightforward.
I started in graduate school because my brain would be empty. Like I would use all my vitamins and minerals for studying.
Sure.
And then I would go to the local Chinese store and then I would just get whatever green and oolong teas they would have selling by like bulk.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to New York, I would go to Chinatown and then look for stuff, but I could never find this grade. Like this grade of tea is so hard to find, and like people don't realize that there's real levels to this tea game. And when you get to the kind of higher quality of things, you really experience, you know, the more beneficial, the more flavor, the more just you really experience the full potential of the tea and the environment that it was grown in. So but yeah, I definitely started there. And what's funny is I would make iced green teas because I was trying to get as much tea in me as possible. But when I moved to Boulder and started coming to the Trident Cafe, that's when I discovered this level of tea.
Well, yeah, and Trident's really unique, right? Because you can find this level of tea, like, but you're mostly looking online. But we actually do have a brick and mortar store where you can actually go in and get a pot of this if you wanted to. Of course, we do Gaiwans too.
And the other thing is, it's the prices. I think when people start to look online at this stuff,
they get a little turned off.
Yeah, because you know that was one thing that I think I really like about you and Peter as tea buyers. You really want people to experience the good tea, and you're trying to bring this level of tea to ordinary tea drinkers, who just want a special, perfect cup of tea.
Yeah. Yeah, these teas definitely do have a following in the cafe, though. But it kind of is like the more seasoned tea drinkers that'll go for it. Most of the time, if you're lucky enough to like find like a rock oolong, like a tea shop or somewhere, or a coffee shop or restaurant or wherever, it's, you know, you're usually finding some like, you know, outer region, like not in the nature preserve, and like just maybe like a blended Da Hong Pao or something like that, and it's, you know, it's fine. It's more like roast forward. It's more like someone could drink it and be like, oh, that's interesting. You know, it's like roasty. I like that. But there's a lot of like nuance when you really get into it. Like I was saying, all the different over 200 varietals, all the different particular locations, all the different ways you can process it, like 2-3 times roast. You could age them. They can be electric or charcoal roasted. There's just a lot going on.
So where can people find the Buddha's hand? And then also, do you guys have a lot of it? Just in case people are, you know, really wanting the Buddha's hand. Or, I mean, just you guys have such a deep list of really rare rock oolongs that, you know.
Yeah, I've never actually seen a shop with like quite the extensive like list of like rock oolongs outside of like rock oolong specialty dealers. But yeah, you can find this tea and others like it on tridentcafe.com/teas. We usually keep a couple oolongs, or I should say we usually keep a couple rock oolongs at a time rotating through the cafe, and we kind of like rotate through those. as they run out. We do still have more Buddha's Hand and others like it. And I would recommend, if you're interested, just go to our Oolong page and like scroll down until you start seeing the rock oolongs, and then just read through, like, because I write little descriptions and tasting notes and recommendations of all of them, just like whatever like sounds good to you if you're interested. Because my feeling is like some may be more appropriate for different people and with different preferences. I also really enjoy like the fruit forward ones, like the Tilohan, the Iron Arhat, Iron Monk, I think is what we're calling it online. Another like standout is the White Coxcomb for me. That's like even more like vegetal dank than this one. So there's just a lot of variation, and it's worth like looking at and getting into.
This was a wonderful episode.
All right, everyone, thanks again for listening or watching. Again, I'm your host Jake here with Josh. We just drank some Shou, Buddha's Hand. Hope you get to experience it too. Thank you.